What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Devil's Advocate. So, hopefully tonight will be a fun night. Just me and my bro shooting the shit. Just we're gonna be reacting to some videos today and just giving our thoughts and opinions. And seeing where things go. Like always, we're just having fun and talking. So now the first video. Oh, you know what? Before we get into that, I just want to say that just hit it because I didn't make a video talking about it, or at least you know a video in our podcast that I just hit 1,000, and that is such a milestone for pretty much any YouTuber. Um, it's an it's been an amazing journey, right? It's very fulfilling. I've said in many videos that I believe men nowadays are directionless, guideless, have no purpose, and they usually don't have any purpose outside of women. And I've been there, right? My younger years, or even until recent, right? I'm always thinking about women, just women, women, women. Okay. And to be honest, that has made me suffer. It has, where it's just suffer from depression, suffer from, you know, just anxiety, insecurity, just whatever, right? Whole lot of negative emotions. And only until recently when I got into pushing myself to create videos for men, about men, um, to support men, is that I've seen, or I'm I know what purpose I have, what direction I have right now, and it is to this channel. Creating the videos I do and speaking the crap that I've been speaking, and it's been an amazing journey so far. So if anyone's watching this, I'm just saying thank you, and it's it's been pushing me that I will continue to grind and hopefully reach the next milestone. I believe is 100K, right? That will be one of the pinnacles, right, of my purpose. My being this, making this my direction, right? It's part of the fulfillment. I believe I will. Uh, I have, I guess, right, to become someone that have fulfilled a purpose or is fulfilling a purpose outside of women. Okay, so but that's what I promote, right? For men to find that purpose outside of women. Making women your whole world, I believe, is a dangerous thing for men. So I guess my journey that I'm sharing, right, especially through the podcast, where I get to talk with my friend, shoot the shit, where I get to really share my emotions and thoughts and views in a long format. Uh, share my journey has so people could, and watching the podcast, which I hope you guys do or watch it regularly. That this is where I will share my journey, right? That I'm on, right? My purpose that I've set for myself. So just thank you, right? And I hope you guys will, come along on this journey with me. So, uh, oh, you know what? How about what about your thoughts on the channel hitting, you know, 1K?
It's a milestone. I told you it's gonna happen. It's gonna start to happen exponentially now, which that's what I'm excited about. Like you get that first big step, and then it's gonna. I think in the next couple months it's gonna jump. it was work to get to 1,000. That's major, and then wait till 1,000 turns to 3, 5. Right. Like it's gonna happen, man.
Oh man, that's
I'm
fine.
proud of you. And in the meantime, um, we get to do something we enjoy, chat it up about what's on our minds. And you get to do something that's giving you direction and purpose, is healthy. So let's go.
Definitely. So, well then, that's amazing. Let's get started, right? Let's get started on the first video. I'm going to do a video. We're going to do a reaction on MTR's, right? His video talking about the latest stunt from Jada Pinkett, right? Her craziness on this is what is it's just a showing of men that have made women their world, right, will suffer. It will be the perfect example. It's a perfect example of the men that are at least not educated, right, in how the world works, or became deluded, or fall into the simp or pandering category. Those are the type of men that will suffer the most. So let's get started and check it out.
To describe a archetype of the modern woman today, it's the gift that keeps on giving, because you are forever a life lesson. You have a incredible talent in Will Smith, an incredible actor who has been consistently and thoroughly embarrassed, disrespected, and preyed upon by you. The thing is that for men who watch this platform, it gives us a set of behavior, a set of characteristics that we know now to steer completely clear of. How dare you? What is it that I'm talking about today? Well, Jada Pinkett, Entanglement Smith, just posted a video of never before seen footage of her and Tupac, the same Tupac that Will Smith has been on record with saying he was jealous of.
Were you ever jealous of the love Jada had for Tupac?
Oh,
Oh
my God, that dude! And that was in the early days.
Yeah,
that was in the early days, and it was like that was a big regret for me too, because I could never open up to interact with Pop. But she just loved him like he was the image of perfection. But she was with the Fresh Prince, so that was a huge regret.
That is for any man, right, that can say what he just said is utterly depressing. It is really depressing in my eyes.
Well, all right, explain.
So if you married a woman that this is the thing where I don't know if you know, right? We have a term in it, I guess the space. It's called alpha widowed.
Okay.
So it's essentially a man in your past that is, let's say, hypothetically, he's the perfect man for, let's say, a woman that you're dating, right? The perfect man.
Mm-hmm.
She had dated. For whatever reason, that fell through, and now she has you. Okay? Not the perfect man. You can never measure up to now that man. And in this woman's mind, that man is literally perfection. Okay? So whatever you do, whatever you say, whatever happens in your relationship, it will always compare to that person, that relationship that she had. It will never be the same. Because, again, she will never view you as that man. Okay? You're not better than that man, because literally he is her vision of perfection. So that's the point where people say alpha widowed. You've been widowed by the pinnacle of manlyhood or whatever in this woman's eyes. So now it's pretty much you're living under the shadow of someone, right? And that is depressing. That now you will never, and you could see, like you could see the relationship, right? Exactly how it is. How this woman, who is your wife, constantly brings up another man's name in your presence to the public. It's like even your children. I don't know if you've seen or heard how the daughter wrote a letter saying that I wish you were still alive. To Tupac, saying I wish you were still alive so my mom could be happy or whatever that shit is, right? But his own daughter wishing for another man to still be around for the mom. This is the thing. This is the thing where that's the concept that the RP has. That's a concept that they've made, because you can see that example in many men, not just Will Smith, but many men where, let's say, I don't know if we want to talk about it, but where one thing where we talk about is body count. Body count is significant in one reasoning is this, where if you have dealt with so many men, all these men have laid their imprint on you, whether small or big, right? All these men have laid their imprint on you. So essentially, because Jada Pink, and this is not necessarily saying like, oh, if you have one or if you had 100, right? But the difference is if you have bodies, okay? This is the thing where you being like religious, how one of the things where it's traditional is that virgins get in with each other because you are each other's imprint. So this is the price where we pay with the modern age, where the imprint, where let's say an average woman nowadays has been with 10, 20 men. She's been imprinted on by so many men. It is logical for, let's say, the 21st man, right? We'll see that, okay, I know that these 20 other men have maybe imprinted her on where she could be, right? Alpha widow, where she compared you to other men, right? Compare you. Are you good in bed? Are you good in this? That. That's one of the things where, well, men talk about the reasoning of body count. But this is all the thing where one of the things where men want to talk about. For a man of Will Smith's caliber, he should not have gone with this trash of a woman. He should not. Because he doesn't. I personally don't believe how this man is an inspiration. He's a role model, right? Especially for the Black community, because it is sad for a true role model of the Black community to be viewed, because practically, right? His later half of his life, he's practically just viewed like now. When you think about Will Smith, you think about Jada Pinkett Smith. Really, you don't think about his films, because any news come out, any talk, anything, it's all about his wife, how his wife disrespect him and shit on him. So, for a man of his caliber, this is right here, where you see that a woman's past, which people talk about. Another thing, while I'm bringing it up, body count, a woman's past, where I said it. In general, I don't know if you agree with this or not. In general, men and women are different. Men care about a woman's past, while a woman cares about a man's future. Okay? If this man had knowledge, like modern day men, right? Men that are in the RP sphere, okay? He would have known that, yo, I'm not wifing up a woman like Jada Pinkett Smith or Jada Pinkett. Now to think about it, literally, this woman hyphenated her name, which is, you think about this, I believe that is one of the ultimate disrespect. She thought so little of you. She didn't want to take your full name, right? She wanted just to add your name to hers. And I'm just, It just now I'm just saying it. So Megan, wow, I'm thinking about you've known this woman is so. It's just to beginning to end, she has been a complete disrespect to Will Smith. And if Will Smith he had to acknowledge that certain men, right, especially in this group, knew he would not have wifed up this type of woman because he would known her past is not worth wifing up. Okay? Her dealing with, let's say, like I said, Tupac, you do not want to date a woman like that because she is head over heels for this man. Well, you do not want to be the next man after that.
So, all right, question. Have you ever dated someone who didn't have an ex?
No, I haven't.
Okay, all right. Me neither. Second question. Do you think it works the other way around sometimes? Do you
What do
think
you
that
mean?
guys ever have like the one that got away?
Yeah, they do.
And like, do they not ever date again?
Let me say this, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to repeat again. Men and women are different. That's just how it is. I believe, right? I'm saying in general, they're probably outliers.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to men, I believe men will have a hell with it attitude. Okay, fine. Like and I'm not saying that there's certain, there are probably certain men who are probably just like Jada, where he can't get over this woman, right? His ex. There are, but I believe, let's say me, right? For example, I'm giving my own example where I've been with I had one ex where even to this day, I think she would have been perfect for me still, right? And I live with this notion for now, because we're broken up. I F that relationship up. I will live with that regret for the rest of my life. That's not stopping me from, putting my all into the next relationship. Okay? That's not gonna stop me from loving another woman. It's a regret I will always have, but again, I believe men in general was like, whatever, on to the next. I mean, it's like sometimes like I also believe that like men have this like it is what it is kind of attitude. Right? So it's like I believe in general certain men is like, okay, fine. If I can't change it, whatever. You gotta move on. At least let's say this.
Okay.
I believe at least the healthy men. Okay? Healthy in mentality, right? In the mindset. And and that's why I want to promote too, right? The health and mindset. Because I can tell you this, right? One of the things that I've said it in some videos, right? I believe that one of the most important things, right? A man on his self-improvement journey, right? Self-improvement journey is that you have to either master or really focus on self-reflection. Okay? Really focus on reflecting on yourself, but not hanging up on it, right? I reflect on, I effed up with my past relationship. I let this, one woman get away. I messed it up. Okay. But I'm not going to go back. One rule I have is like, I'm not going to go back. It's just whatever. It is what it is, right? Going backwards is never a good thing, right? Just go forwards. So, in a sense that I will learn from my past, right? And I have, right? I've done now where one of the things I've changed, right? Where one of the rules I made is that I will give my all, right, to a relationship until I can't give it my anymore. That's another rule I made because effing that relationship up has made me, rethink future relationships because I don't want to repeat that again. So it's again, that's part of self-reflection. That's part of self-improvement. Okay, I'm not saying men don't experience this too, but let's say I think part of men is just like they bottle it up. It's like whatever. I love this woman. I can't get back to her. Then fine, I'll move on. Whatever, shit like that, right? That's what I see, and I believe more.
So I think, I mean, we can get into well, I'll talk about Will first. I think it's relatable that he can admit he had feelings of jealousy or inadequacy when he compared himself to a guy who was essentially Jada's best friend, because they weren't really together.
Which is weird. That's what I'm saying. Like everything about it is weird.
And that's actually something we should talk about too, like the whole idea of your girl or your mate having a
oh my god, we got
that's definitely
that's what I'm saying. We gotta talk about, because like that is another thing we should talk about. Like, do we believe that women should have male friends or male best friends?
But but I don't think I think it's good that he was able to say that out loud, that he was able to admit that. At the time, I mean, that's growth and that's self-reflection. That's honesty, right? I think that there is, I mean, we don't know what goes on day to day in their household for sure. But I know that Jada Pinkett Smith's situation with Tupac is a little bit different, because it's not a relationship that ended because somebody did something wrong to the other, or they stopped getting along, or thought they weren't right for each other, or good as friends. He died, right? I think there were reasons
alpha widowed. That's the thing. That's the concept, right? That's the idea.
So that sucks. That sucks for her. I can see how it could hurt or be a problem in their relationship if she can't get over him, because honestly, I think women usually get over past loves faster than men. You don't think so?
They don't.
I think men move on, but I don't know that they.
I honestly believe, in my opinion, right? This is my opinion. I have no data on it. That men get over it. Get over, at least men get over things much better or quicker than women. Like I said, the concept. Listen, I always think this, right? Men, essentially, right? At the end of the day, men are deep down. Men really care about sex. Okay, so again, there is emotional impact to it. I say that, right? But let's say this: if I was being still hang up on my ex, if I'm on to the next girl having sex, I'm not thinking about my ex while I'm having sex. I just don't think. I think in general, I think a lot of men, because let's say this, right? We don't hold that necessarily emotional tie like women, right? That's one of the things where I think, because one of the scientific studies, right, is that women actually produce whatever chemicals and shit like that when they have sex with men. So they actually create a chemical bond, while men don't really do that. So yeah, unless it was such a deep whatever kind of relationship for a man, where she is like, this woman is like utterly unbelievable, perfect, or whatever, I think most men do get over women quicker without less hassle, because with the next woman, certain things happen, like let's say sex, okay, will pretty much make him not think about much like that. So I kind of think that, that men would not even care like that, or be able to get over it. While women, let's say, if a man hits all of her buttons, I mean, and the relationship doesn't work out, I still think that she will be still emotionally tied to certain men of their past. So, yeah.
All right, that's interesting because this may be getting off topic a little bit. My experience has been that women get over it faster. Now, here's what I mean: like when they're in their feelings, it's intense, right? Far more intense than you would ever see from myself or maybe another guy, right? But it's intense for a time, and then they're done. They're done with it. So, for instance, you call her my one, right? By the time I finally got over her, she had been married for a while. So, and she wasn't the first one that had like moved on to another serious relationship before I was over them. You know what I mean? So that, I mean, that's just been my experience. Again, like you said, everybody's experience is different. I just think it's interesting because I know for myself, at least maybe the first time it happened, not the last time, but maybe the first time. Like I didn't really talk about it. So I spent a lot of time hiding my feelings and not going to anyone to talk about how I felt. So I put on I'm fine, I'm okay. And it's not, but I wasn't. And then a lot later, and I struggled longer because I didn't.
Let's say this, right? I want to unpack this this is my theory, okay?
Mhm.
For at least the story, what you said, because I can tell you this, it's reflective with me. So let's say this, right? One thing, right? Might sound bad, but I think, let's say in general, right? I Let's even it out. Both men and women will get over relationships quick. I'm saying that, right?
Okay.
But the imbalance is that there are certain men for women that they won't get over quick.
Okay.
Right? I'm saying more often than there are for men. Because again, I put the emotional bond and tied, right? So let's say in your case, she wasn't that into you, in my opinion. Okay. Or at least not towards that level where it would that kind of shit would happen to her. Okay. I'm more saying like the whole thing where even though let's say we say majority, 51% to let's say 49%. And there's not barely nothing, right? But still, I see it as an edge over women because they have that emotional persona. So now here's my other theory with, let's say, why you, or let's say even me, right? How I've been in your position where men don't get over women quickly, in a sense. Because what I was saying before, where when we get to the next woman and have sex and stuff like that, that's the thing, right? Men and women are different. Where women, they can date easy. Dating for women is on easy mode. A woman can walk outside the door and find a man like that. Okay? She can, I don't know, wear a bonnet, baggy clothes, all that stuff, no makeup on, and still get a man to be interested in her. Now, let's say for me and you, right? One, we will have to go up to a woman. Two, there's no even, I bet there'll probably barely a possibility of her even being interested in us, right? Not high probability. And if we want to even get the chance of walking outside our door and maybe getting someone, we have to level up to the nth degree, right? Looks, height if we're lucky, money, charisma, charm, being fun. like you name it. All these things, that attributes that men need to have. So this is the thing where with women, the issue is that even, let's say, even if she loved you, okay, loved you like insane and wanted, to be with you the rest of the world, for the rest of her life, but yeah, it didn't work out. Once she's, in a relationship with someone else, let's say she broke up with you yesterday. Now today she's in a new relationship with someone else. That kind of puts the what is it, the wheel of motion where she can get over you. Okay? Get over you quickly and forget about you. The issue with men is that we don't really get that. At least not, let's say this, at least definitely not average men. We don't get that opportunity. We don't have that ability to get over women easily. So one of the things with one of the sad reality for average men is that why we don't leave marriages, why we don't break up relationships, right? Our own relationships, is because the scarcity mindset. Okay? Where, oh my God, I don't want to break up with her because who am I? I won't have nobody. And I don't know about you, but I've go on dating sites, try to talk to women. And all that. Dating is hard. It is so hard for men. It is such a deep roller coaster of like shitty emotion for men. Okay, so that's the issue, that men generally, right, the 80%, right, the men that are on the bottom, we have it hard. We can't get over a woman because we can't get a new woman, right? That's the thing where time heals all, but the problem is when you break up and not, have someone new or go out, date and shit like that, your time essentially stays still, right? So you're staying in that motion of, oh my God, I'm depressed. I'm still depressed. I have nobody. I'm still thinking about the last woman I'm with, which was the amazing woman that I left. Even though if you think back, maybe she wasn't that amazing, all this stuff, but you're lonely, you're depressed. So you only think about, I miss her. You're not thinking about the red flags or the bad shit or all that stuff. But that's the thing. That's the problem and issue with average men, is that we are suffering because we're average. Okay? That's the thing, right? You don't think the whole thing where the Chads and Tyrones, right? The men that are the pinnacles, the high value men, the 6-figure men. Why you don't see those type of men suffering is because, well, you broke up with me. Who care with you? On to the next one. Okay? That's the thing where that's the difference. I believe because even average women don't suffer from that. And I'm saying average women that look like a 4, look like a 5. Average women would not suffer from that.
Okay. Is it that? All right. So, is it that? I guess what do you call them? A high value man, a top tier man, whatever. Is it we don't? Is it they're not suffering, or we don't see them suffer?
Let's say this. I personally believe they're at least they're not suffering from getting over a woman. That I would say that.
Okay. I'm not 100% sure that's true.
How so?
Because so a couple things. One, if a man can have a lot of women, he probably doesn't have a strong connection with any of them. Okay. Or if a man has a lot of women, he probably doesn't have a strong connection with any of them, right?
Okay.
If a man has a strong connection with one and he loses it, a strong connection is not easily. You think a strong connection is easily replaced?
Is it easily replaced? No. I wouldn't think so.
So,
but I would say this, right? Okay, go ahead.
So like we talked about a woman being able to easily find another man, sure, and start the wheel ball rolling on forgetting her last one. But if the connection with the last one was strong, the next one might not be as satisfying for a long time, or it might not even be the one that she ends up being with. And if a man tries to get over a woman he had a strong connection with by just getting with other women he can get with, there's still going to be something missing there, won't it be?
See, this is the kind of the fallacy and the lack of logic in that way of thinking.
Go ahead. Go for it.
Let's say this, right? You forget the balance of probability, right? Playing the odds. So even for men and women, there's no difference, right? For that kind of statement where you said, right, if let's say your ex had a strong bond with you, there is no guarantee that she will find that with the next person.
Mm-hmm.
But the issue, like I said, right, is the difference between men and women, where even average women can get plenty of men, plenty of options. So when you have the ability to play with balance of probability, right? So if, let's say this, right, you were the love of her life, but you guys broke up. Now, the next phase, she's dating 5 men. Okay, all 4 of them, four of those men were terrible, no bond at all, right? But the 5th man, woo, she just found a man that, comparative, close to, or maybe better than the bond she had with you. But that's the thing, right? That's the balance of probability. Having 5 options instead of 0, or instead of just 1, right? If she had 1 option, and that 1 option was the one that out of the 4, boom. Of course, she will still be in the funk of I'm depressed, all this shit, right? And that's the thing with average men, right? Where let's say me and you, if you broke up with your girl, or me, I broke up with my girl, I got broken up with, whatever. If it takes me 3 months to find 1 date, okay, well then, and that 1 date was shitty, yeah, that I'll be depressed and still hung up on my last girl. But the issue, the difference is, let's say the high value man, if he can find 1 date every day or every week in 3 months, there's a high balance of probability. If he cared, right? This is saying if he cared about connection or whatever, there's still a higher probability that he could find another woman that he can find a connection with, that he's satisfied with, where he can forget about his ex. Okay, that's the difference, right? That's the difference, where the power that average women have, or that's the power that all women have, that even that high value men have. It's the power of of abundance, right? One of the, let's say this, right? One of the key tactics, right, for dating, especially online, is about, no, you know about it, right? When we used to hang out with our friends, right? How when we go out, they're hitting on so many women.
Shotgun effect.
Yes, it's just shoot it out, right? Yes. Yeah. So it's like you just, like you say the exact same line to, let's say, 20, 30 girls. All you need is 1.
Right.
All you need is 1. See, now you see the logic, right? Yeah, all you need is 1. And that's the thing, where it's about numbers. It's playing the numbers game, right? That's the key that we're not thinking, where average men don't have that easy access to the numbers game. We don't, right? We could compensate, right? Like, let's say when I do, online dating, I send a message to just a whole bunch of women, right? But that's the thing, where we play a number game, and that's the same thing that women do, right? Women do, and then high value men, or the men that are desired, they do play numbers game, date as many, have sex with as many, whatever. That's what they do.
But so what about the approach of if your approach is, I'm not gonna find somebody else right now, right? What if your approach is, I'm gonna reflect on what happened through the emotion, like learn some lessons about, like, well, here's what went wrong, here's what I could have done differently, here's maybe where we weren't compatible. Next time I go to find somebody, I'll make better choices.
Okay.
Like what if that's like I feel like that's a healthier approach than I need to find somebody to help me forget about the last one.
Let me say this. I say that's a approach.
Okay.
I wouldn't necessarily that's healthier approach.
Okay.
But I'm not saying that's an unhealthy approach either, right? I say that's a approach.
Okay.
Right? There was a which is crazy, right? Tyrese said this quote. Why can't I? Well, it's not a direct quote because I forgot what it is. But why can't I heal while I'm, with another woman? Right? Why can't you reflect on it while you're dating? Right? Doing the dating shit, right? Going out and doing the stuff. Why can't you? And personally, let's think about this. Let's think about the logical side of it. Why shouldn't you? You're not wasting time. Because why can't you? Because like, let's say this. One of the things where one of the gripes with women, right? Let's say even especially black women. Why are they in college not looking for their potential husband, but they're only focused on getting that degree? You could do both. That's the problem where you're at a period where you can find the man that's on your same level generally, right? This is the only period where you can find the most men in such a concentrated area where they're basically the same level as you. Okay? Even maybe educational level or financial level, whatever. While you're getting a degree, you should be looking for a man. You should be doing both. Not waiting until, okay, now after I got my bachelor's, now I got my master's, now I got my doctor's, now I'm 35, now I want a husband. What? No, you're mad old already. That's just how it is. And this is the thing where I think there's difference. Let's say that that's the difference where why waste time? I've said this before. Human beings' most valuable, I believe, commodity is time. Time is so finite for us. Why waste it?
So, and that's funny. I was gonna say the same thing about time, but use it, I guess, to support my argument. And I guess it depends on what kind of person you are. But like, if time's finite, you only have so much of it, right? You only have a capacity to do so much. A relationship takes time, and it takes energy, and it takes being present, and so do your goals and your career and time and your time to meditate and reflect. That takes time too. Now maybe you're someone who can do both and neither would suffer. But we talk all the time about how a woman, if a woman spends so much time trying to achieve her career goals, she's run out of time to get a man. If I spend my time in a relationship, a lot of the energy that I would use to say, write my first book, or travel, or just learn some things that will make me a better person. A lot of the energy I need to achieve that, I'd be putting into a relationship. And maybe I could do both at the same time, but it would take me longer to achieve my goals, wouldn't it? Now am I wasting time?
Well, let me say this, right? I don't necessarily believe that. In the sense that this is the thing where we need to learn. right? This is the thing where I think you're suffering from it now. Time management. Okay, how to fit everything into your schedule correctly. You're suffering at 40. Okay, so this is the thing where, and this is why I said, right? I mean, that's the problem where, and I suffer from shit like that too, right? Where we're learning things so late in life when we shouldn't have. So this is where I said again with college, where you're 18, you're 20, you're 21. You have time. It's like you forget, right? The issue, like, I don't know if you suffer from this, right? Where now at our age, time seems like it's going so fast, right? I mean, at least for me, I feel like time is moving at light speed. But when I was young, I felt time was on a snail's pace. And that's the thing with, like, we forget the concept of time as well. When you're younger, that is the time to do that shit, right? Where if you have boyfriend, try to get your career and try to learn to juggle both, right? This is the point where, let's say this, I've always said this, do not expect perfection, okay? But, and I'm gonna tell my daughters that you gotta choose. If you want to be a family woman or a career woman, right? You gotta choose. But there are chances where you can possibly have both. And I believe college is one of those chances, right? Where you can build with a man that is pretty much, on your level. Okay? Because then now when you're out in the dating world, you're 25, now you're almost 30 or whatever, right? Time is more of an essence, right? Time gets more and more value as you age because you get less of time. So use your youth to actually, learn how to do that, right? The issues with us is that, we wasted our youth to do the crap we did, and now, we suffer from it in our old age. But, that's something that I cannot deny that there's logic into it where, I'm stupid now where I made mistakes in my later year. I mean, I made my mistakes in my earlier years that I'm suffering in my later years, right? And that's the problem. That's the issue that we have, right? I don't deny that, now, let's say now, to do both is hard. It is really hard. Because if you want to focus on it completely, shit like that is hard, right? Especially for older men, older women, where we have shit that, we're set. It is hard now. But I don't change that. It shouldn't have been if we done it when we should have done it.
I know we have to get back to the video. I'll say just a couple of things.
One,
I don't know if it's fair to to expect young people to figure that out at that age. Not because I'm not saying you're wrong that they should, but you think back to when you were a teenager, and I think back to when I was a teen. Like, I can say, like, I wish there were some things my parents had taught me, but I can also say that I wish I had listened.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that young people will do is not listen.
No.
So I think that's always going to be the case, that by the time we figure out certain things, we're older.
Let's say this. The fallacy in that is that I would say at least it's out there. You can never, I would never, there are certain people, let's say this, right? For me, I will, one of the things I will blame, I'm not blaming, but technically blame my parents for is lack of financial education, right? Their lack of, instilling financial education onto me has made me suffer in the future, right? I'm not saying, okay, would I have listened to them? I don't know. But but at least you could say that, well, at least they told me and I made that choice. That's the difference, right? That's the thing where I say our channel is, right? I'm not going to tell any man how to get a girl or all these things, right? Because that's not my thing. But I will throw out information. You decide what to do with it. And that's the thing where let's say before in the while back, you said the thing about Fresh and Fit where you worry about their audience. But that's the thing where at the end of the day, it's us just throwing out information. At the end of the day, it's what you choose to do with that information. That's up to you. I believe 100% in self-accountability. Okay? So I'd rather say, here, I'm going to throw out this information that don't pick a woman that's been alpha widow. Whether you do it or not, that's up to you. Okay? Whether you do it or not. I would throw it out like, if you broke up with if a woman broke up with you and you want to spend 3 years wallowing and trying to figure out, whatever, then that's up to you. But I would say that's stupid. Don't waste those years. You could self-improve, you could self-reflect while you're dating and talking to women and improving your dating skills and hope, because you got to think, right? One of the things that missed opportunities always happens, right? So let's say in those three, let's say it took you after you broke up or after you got dumped or whatever by your ex, and it took you a year to, I don't know, self-reflect. But what if you had three months after that, that breakup, if you had went, hypothetically, God had dropped a woman somewhere. If you had went out somewhere and saw this woman and then chatted with her and asked her out, maybe this woman would have been, your future wife. Instead of you, I'm staying home. I don't want to go outside. I'm depressed. I need to think about my feelings. Okay, but that don't change anything. That's the thing where you got to think about, right? Missed opportunities is because of our inactions. So that's one of the things,
All right, here's the thought. So I have some other stuff to say on it. I have some other thoughts, but I'll table that for now. Will Smith is an alpha man. He can get any woman. He isn't a 1% of like high value dudes who can. So what do you think what?
It's because he's not. He's not an alpha. He's a beta.
But he's high value.
Is he now? He was.
Right? Literally.
Okay. If you want to put, like, let's say this, right? Yeah, I believe he's high value in the money sense, right? In the purest sense of high value, yes, he is. The sad part is even simps can be essentially high value, right? It's the mentality. This is the thing where I don't like people thinking that they're adding shit to high value. It's just essentially money. High value, in my opinion, and if you've seen, I have it on my things, like Kevin Samuel, essentially high value is just money. But this man is not really a mentally sound man. He's not. I don't even think he's a morally good man. Okay, because in my opinion, moral good men will see the shit that's happening in his life as morally wrong. It's disrespectful, right? Your wife does that. Your kids do that. It's like you're a laughing stock. Where's the morality in that? Where's the principles? Where's the, it's like, where's the boundaries? That's why it's like,
so he's not a divorce her and discipline his kids. Is that what you're saying?
Huh?
So you should divorce her and discipline his kids?
He should. But now it's too late. His kids are grown already. Like once you hit a certain age, like your kids would do what they would do. But that's the problem where he should have done that when they were kids. Right? Because, and again, right, I do not, I'm not an advocate for divorce like that. The problem is that when the woman, I believe, right, for men, I would say, right, for women, right, definitely divorce a man if he abuses you and if he cheats on you. Fine, if you want to do that. For a man, if a woman emotionally cheats on you and then or physically cheats on you, you definitely, men cheating that's it. And Jada has definitely emotionally cheated on him. She's thinking about the dead man constantly. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's see more of the video. Go for it.
She apparently can't let the young man rest in peace and decided to use his image and his likeness and her experience with him to advertise her upcoming book. Again, putting aside any respect that she should be showing towards her now husband, Will Smith, the same Will Smith that walked up on stage of the Academy Awards and smacked another man in order to try to act like what he thought a Tupac would do in that very situation. I'm about to play the audio for you just so I can continue to demonstrate how disrespectful that this actually is. But guys, let me just say something to you real quick. Again, I've said this many times on my platform. Who you choose as a significant other, especially if you decide to marry one of these chicks, is going to be one of the most important decisions that you make within your life. And whether you like it or not, the women that we choose are a reflection of us. And if she cannot uphold respect for us throughout the entirety of that situation, throughout the entirety of that relationship, throughout the entirety of that marriage, then you never should have chosen to begin with. You leave her on the streets of when she came. If there's any doubt into the strength of their relationship, if there's any doubt into how much that Jada loved Tupac, all you got to do is just point to this particular video that she never had to post in the first place. Look at the way she's looking at Pac to continue to embarrass her now husband. Look at the way she's touching on Pac right here. For goddamn, damn Jada, you evil serpent woman. But what gets crazier is the actual audio behind all of this. Listen to it.
I guess that's why I didn't notice that police car.
Well, I can't play too much of it due to copyright, but listen. That's Will Smith. So this evil serpent woman was dancing with her then love, Tupac Shakur, to Will Smith. What type of dastardly human being do you have to be? You could at least change the audio on this song. No one would have known what you guys were dancing to, but you chose on purpose to upload a video of you and Pac. You rub it all on his abs and shit like that, looking deeply into his eyes the way that you are, with the Will Smith audio playing in the background. This is evil incarnate. Why would you choose to do this? You either just don't give a shit, you're psychopathic, or you have this much respect for your goddamn superstar husband. But gents, listen to me again. This is what happens if you pick incorrectly. These women look at our futures and our potential and our ambition and our confidence so they can feel secure. But you should be looking at their past. And the fact of the matter is that Jada has a past of doing this shit documented.
You know, Esther Perot is coming to the table. She's going to be at the red table. Would you say she has been instrumental in you and I redefining our relationship?
I would say don't just start filming me without asking me if you could film me.
Esther, come help us again, please. I'm still dealing with foolishness.
Because she don't just.
Would you say that
If that's not the look in the face of a beaten and disheveled man that doesn't even have control of his own household, then I don't know what is. This is the 1,000-yard stare. This is the married guy, the married unhappy guy stare. This is a man that didn't understand that.
That's he's going to show a whole lot of like the disrespect that Jada has done to Will Smith. We've seen it. We know it. So, I mean, you know, you should check his video out if you want to see the full thing. I just want to. It's just like the fuel to the vehicle for our conversation, right? So, what do you think? Flesh out more of your ideas.
I mean, I've seen some of that, and I mean, from the outside looking in, it's bad.
To be honest, right?
Mm-hmm.
In most celebrities, I guess relationships, that kind of idea, the outside looking in, right? You don't necessarily know. It could be true. Sadly, I think this is inside out, whatever. It is exactly what you see.
We're seeing it. Okay.
So I do not believe, and with how this is the problem, right? With how much it's online, that's the problem, right?
Yeah,
you're not seeing tidbits.
Yes.
That's the thing. That's the problem, right?
so much of what goes on.
Yes, so much of their. This is why I said in the beginning, where I'm sorry, Will Smith's later half of his life is pretty much about Jada. That's it. Which is, I kind of believe, was Jada's doing. Where I think one of the things she said, like she's upset that she could have had a career or whatever. One of the things, right?
But she could have had a career. I mean, Jada Pinkett,
yeah,
did have a career.
Her career is barely there, right? I mean, like
maybe right now, but for real, right now, so is Will's, unfortunately, right?
I mean, but it's like
Jada was on TV. Jada was in movie after movie, all the way up to the Matrix series, which was not that long ago.
But again, like none of them, right? Even the Matrix thing, none of them stood out, right? But I mean, I think before she got with, I mean, in her younger years, yeah, she was, I think, an up and coming, in my opinion. She was up and coming, but getting with Will Smith, he outshined her by a billion miles. And I believe that this narcissistic woman, she felt like she could have continued on her whatever imaginary career journey. So I kind of believe that how you see their relationship so adamantly showcased online, I think that's her way of like, you know, the things like bad press, good press, it don't matter as long as you get press. That's the thing where she wants her face out there, right? Because the relationship was hit. He was the hit, supposedly the head of this relationship, right? Or at least the face of this relationship. Now she is. She's pretty much the face of it, right? The disgusting face of this relationship. So I believe that it's maybe orchestrated for her to, I don't know, drain the validation and notoriety of this, in my opinion. But that's another here or there. But I'm just saying, like, how this relationship is so prominently displayed online. I think this is exactly how it is. There's nothing. I just, to be honest, behind closed doors, I think it's worse. Right? That's my opinion. I don't think it's better. Right? Behind closed doors, I think it's a whole lot worse. So, yeah.
So I agree with you. I don't like the dynamic of their relationship. I think they picked poorly. And I think that a big problem is Jada isn't the face of the relationship. It's Will. And when let me explain what I mean. Jada, I think Red Table Talk was a terrible idea. I think we both agree on that. Terrible idea. The thing happened at the Oscars. What's come out of all that? I mean, we talk about Jada being being bad for Will. Things that came out of Red Table Talk were memes of Will, literally his face. The videos we watch are literally is Will's face. It's Will on the stage at the Oscars backing Chris Rock. It's Will's career who's hurt. We are talking about Will Smith being hurt. It's his face we're seeing all the time, struggling for that.
So my thing is like, I see what your point is, but my thing is not like whereas Will is like, I see it as like his image is being destroyed.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
While on the sense that his image is now just surrounded by, it's how I see is like how I see, because you do like this, right? Let's say 10 years back, you don't hear Jada Pinkett Smith. Even if you hear Will Smith, you don't think about her. You don't necessarily think about her. That's why I said it's the difference where while his image is being destroyed, you're constantly hearing about her. I mean, good or bad, it's just how it is, but you're constantly hearing about her, right? Because everything you talked about, well, her name is right next to it. That's the thing. Her image, her name is right next to that. Everything you talked about, that it's like the disgustingness of his public image, she's right there. Her face is like practically there, shining bright. So that's where I say that's the things where I say like she's grown in prominence, right? Good or bad, right? As the evil or whatever, but she's grown in prominence where now every time you talk about Will Smith, it's Jada right next to it. Okay, but that's what I'm talking about. The difference, because like I said, 10 years ago or so, you would not talk 10, 20 years ago or so, you would not necessarily think about Jada when you talk about Will, all his accomplishments, right? His movies, all that stuff. He's not talking about his wife. You're not, right? She may show up to that, but it's like you're not hanging up on Jada. You know, you're not talking about her often. Now, you're constantly talking about her if you talk about Will. Okay? That's the thing what I'm saying, where she's grown while his life is just being destroyed. Right? And that's why I think that she's the parasite of it.
Okay. So that might answer my question, but I was gonna say, who do you blame for the downfall of their relationship?
I'll blame him. I blame him 100%. Right? Because like you were saying, like pick better, right? She picked great. She picked, I honestly believe, essentially the perfect husband that a woman should get. I believe a woman should get. I'm not saying that a woman would want. I mean, the man is like obviously a monster simp, right? He has barely any edge to him, so women would definitely not be with that for long. But he's a good father. Let's say even on the surface, right? Because I'm not speaking. I know this man like he's my best friend, but he seems to be a good father, a good husband. He's a provider. You know, he's, I guess, kind of protect. I mean, essentially a protector, right? Because he's never said anything bad about her. Even though she's dragged him through the mud, he's protected her name while she shitted on his. Remember we talked about protection? Well, she ain't protecting this motherfucker. Oh, no. Man, I gotta try not to curse because that's not good for that YouTube shit.
Okay.
Right? Or at least big curses.
Mm-hmm.
But she's not protecting him in whatsoever. Right? Literally, this man is being shot on social media, right? To the public. And she's like practically handing people guns to shoot him with. So I see this man as like, let's say he's essentially maybe like me and you, right? Where we love our family, we love our wife in the sense, right? Where we would put our family, our wife first because we want them to be happy, we want them to prosper. But at the end of the day, who's thinking about him? Right? Not his children, not his wife. Right? They're not thinking about him. And that's the thing where he's essentially the right man for women, right? But that's the thing where he, in the sense that he picked wrong, right? So okay. I think it's his fault.
So I do blame him. I do think it's his fault, or that he bears more of the responsibility. But I think they both picked poorly because I see it
poorly because that's not what she wanted. But technically, let's say this, right? I don't know Tupac well, but like his upbringing, his persona, if his persona is what he is, right? Let's say this, hypothetically, he would have cheated on her if they were dating or being serious. I believe maybe, right? Because as he was getting big popular, right? Towards then. And as a rapper, women are throwing yourself at you, right? Will Smith has always had the squeaky clean image, rapper or whatever, right? So he's not essentially a man that just like accepts women throwing herself at him. Rappers, well, I believe that they generally would. So yeah, she didn't pick the perfect person that she wanted, but Will Smith was pretty much the perfect man that a woman should have, in a sense,
like honorable and an ideal man But it's not just that she didn't pick the man she wanted. Maybe she'd be much better with a man who could straighten her out, right? Right? Like her, like I get that. I get the idea that any press is good press, right? But her image, whether she realizes it or not, she may not realize it, so she's still putting herself out there. But her image has taken a beating too. Like when we talk about Jada, we don't talk about her like she's some hero, right?
No, that's true.
I mean, this discussion we're having about her is that we called her the devil. Like she's the worst because I mean, he's tried to protect her. I don't think he's done a great job, especially at the Oscars. That wasn't protecting your family, but like, but I get it, right? He's got some things he hadn't dealt with, and that all came out in front of everybody, right? She would have been better with a man who maybe in that moment, let's say she were with, I'm not going to say Tupac. I don't think Tupac was necessarily right either. But let's say she were with a man who Chris Rock tells a joke about her. She looks at her husband like, are you going to do something about it? And he turns to her and says, yeah, not on camera. Sit down, be easy, and I'll take care of it later. And we would have never heard a thing about it, right?
No, yeah.
That man would have been good for her because her image wouldn't be taking this beating over that, right? Right? A man who could, I'm not saying that Will doesn't deserve her respect. That's not what I'm saying. But when I say a man who could earn her respect.
Yeah, he doesn't command her respect, that's for sure.
Right, there. Okay. I can, yeah, that's a good way to say it. He doesn't command her respect. She'd be better with a man who did.
Yeah.
Because it would work wonders for both of them, right? Mm-hmm. Because she's out there for everyone to see in a negative light.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be the case if she were with somebody who she respected and listened to.
I agree.
So I think that, so I do think they both chose poorly, and I think it's really unfortunate. And I'm sure there are a lot of relationships like that.
We talk about it. People just ignore red flags, so it is what it is.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree.
We're having problems with choosing the right person.
Yeah. And I mean, it's unfortunate. I don't think it's the norm for most women, but I think that's it's she's a terrible example.
She's a terrible person.
Of a good partner. I won't go as far as to call her a terrible person.
I've not seen her in a good light, but I guess
I agree with that. You haven't seen her in a good light.
All right, let's do something that kind of coincides with it in a sense.
Okay,
right?
All right, cool.
Let's talk about this.
What do you prefer? A woman who is trainable, or a woman who is already red-pilled, understands that mold, or is there no difference? You're happy with both? Like, can you be bothered to train a woman?
I think that's an important component. A girl's gotta be. Here's the thing: I'll take a dumb girl all day if she's inquisitive, impressionable, and trainable, because I can make her smarter. Right? My leader, I have the confidence, I have the competence to make her a better woman. And I think most girls that end up being like the best girlfriends, their boyfriend has to train them to a degree. Hey, this is what I need you to do for me. Because the man is a leader. A component of leadership is being able to instruct people and lead them to success. And to get your girl to be the best girlfriend that she could be, you have to lead her. But the problem is that a lot of guys don't have leadership skills. They ask their girl, what do you want to do? They let her lead, all this stupidity. Like, I always say it, like, people, oh, you're sexist, but misogynistic. But I'm realistic. Most women don't even know what the fuck they want to eat for lunch. How the hell do you expect her to guide you in life? Like, no, like, women are not born leaders. There's a reason why, since the beginning of time, men have led societies, and patriarchy stand the test of time, and matriarchies die off. Because women aren't born leaders. They're too emotional. They're not deductive problem solvers. They don't use rationale. They use feelings, and that's a problem. When you use feelings, that's a bad thing. If you look at men that use feelings, what are they? School shooters, criminals, murderers, etc., pedophiles, because they're going off of emotion. They're not able to control themselves. When men aren't able to control their emotions, really bad things happen, because men are capable of violence and savagery. When women aren't able to control their emotions, it's like, it's kind of natural for them. So that's why men need to be in leadership roles. because women aren't natural leaders. Are there women that can lead? Right. There's always exceptions to the rules. There's always going to be fantastic women that can be lead and be boss and all this other stuff. But on the balance of probabilities, most can't.
I asked because so when I was about
Let's dissect it. Let's dissect this video. What's your thoughts so far? Because look at this, right? Because it's in contrast to what we were talking about before. Kind of coincide to the ending of what you said, right? In a sense, right? Because it's basically the man that commands respect. Well, he can essentially, he's training in a sense. So, you know, do you agree with a certain thing where essentially, you know, you should be to be in a productive relationship with a woman when you have to train her a little bit?
So let me just say this up front. I hate the way he sounds. like I was trying to figure out like what I disagree with. I just hate the way he sounds. It just comes up like I don't know. I just the way he says it just sounds so like I don't know. But that aside, to a degree, yeah. I mean, I guess I wouldn't call it. I guess you can call it training. You can call it training. It's if you meet somebody and you have to be able to communicate what you want and need out of your relationship, right?
Yes.
And the person you're with has to be able to give that to you for the relationship to work, and vice versa.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, and in a traditional relationship where the man is the leader or expected to take the lead, he needs to be able to instruct. Yeah, so I don't think I disagree with it. I don't know if I'd call any woman dumb. but someone who's willing to listen is favorable to someone who's not. So
okay, yeah, okay. I agree.
1920.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I was like a feminist, but I was definitely
You were one of those?
No, it wasn't crazy feminist,
okay.
but I was definitely you know, I thought that I was proud, you know, to make my own money and you know, I like intellectual things, like I like politics and crypto or whatever. So I'm like, yeah, that'll be fun to work in that area, and you know, I can do it, and I can, you know, but as time's gone on, you know, I'm lucky I have an older brother. I would say he's definitely like knocked a lot of ideas out of me, I guess, you know, like maybe see things in a
male leadership,
way.
baby.
Yeah, so now I would say, you know, like I have like this trained mindset. So I feel like my brother's like prepared me for the right man. But I'm curious, is there something which men prefer? A woman who he doesn't need to train, like of course she needs to be trained to his liking, right? And how he likes everything to go, how you know he likes the food, you know. My future husband isn't gonna like his chicken season the way my brother likes his chicken season, you know, it's all different. But I'm saying, is that more valued over a woman who doesn't know anything, and then you've got to like take all this time to just like train her and teach her and you know debate with her and.
So you're like in a fantastic position, and I've always said this too. Like
oh,
you know, women
that's
say,
very positive.
Yeah. I mean, I really do love the relationship that you have with your brother, and that's great. I wish more women had it, because if more women had it, they would be better girlfriends and or wives in the future. And the thing is that I've said this before, and I'll say it again. The best person to advise a woman is her brother, her father, her uncle. Men that don't have a sexual interest in her. Why? Because they're going to give her the real deal. Hey, this is what you need to do. This is how you be attractive, etc. And they can give you truly objective advice that's going to make you the best counterpart for a man of value, right? Because they don't have a sexual interest in you, so they're going to keep it 1,000, right? So that's one thing. I think that's something.
I would like to put a caveat: they shouldn't, right? Let's say no. I mean, you listen to any man that absolutely have no sexual interest in you is the point. There are exceptions because it is a disgusting world we live in. But this is the thing where you gotta be, you know, have the knowledge, right? Be conscious of your surroundings, right? This is the thing.
Yeah, it's not a safe world. That sucks.
It's not.
But I hear you.
but at the most positive point, right, is that those are the men that should be looking out for you. This is the thing where I definitely agree, where I want to look out for my daughter, right? I believe you'll be the same way. for your future kids. I want to look out for my daughter, my nieces, right? I want to look out for them, and I will give them those advice. And yeah, I would say, I don't agree with this man. This is below you or whatever shit like that. So yeah.
Thing that I wish stood more, but we have fatherless households, broken families. It's something that's rare, which is why I really admire this relationship that you have with your brother. But I would say if they don't have that, I would say trainable is good. And the reason why I tell guys is you need to be able to train your girls, because unfortunately a lot of women don't have a strong brother, a father, etc. So you have to come in and you have to be that leader and teach her how to be a good girlfriend a lot of the times. So it used to be, right, like 50, 60 years ago, when chivalry was a thing, by the way, you can meet a girl and she came what I call pre-assembled. She came from a two-parent household. Her father and her mother instilled certain values in her. She understood what it was to be a lady. You didn't have to do too much work. Like an average guy could be rest assured that he'd be able to get a woman, and she'd be a dutiful wife, and she'd be a good wife, and she'd raise his children, and they'd be able to, get the white picket fence and the family, nuclear family, dog, 2 kids, all that. But those days are done, man. Women aren't necessarily women anymore. Like women are more masculinized now, and you have to almost train that out of them to a degree. Right now, I don't have a problem with women that want to enter the workforce and make money, etc.
That's the thing. I don't want to. I'm not trying to dig at your friend, right? But remember our last conversation, in the sense that I'm just saying in general, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is where it shows where I believe that's the issue with modern women today. Women of today, right? Is that they're more or just as manly as the next man, right? Women are not, they don't exude femininity, right? And again, it's more, again, I'm not saying that I know your friend, it's just that how women talk now, it's aggressive, it's combative, right? It's like you're talking to a man. So it's heavy emotion into, like, if a man was doing that, it will get physical. That's something where when you put in that umph of emotion where you're loud, you're cursing, you're just saying things that would like push someone else's buttons, right? That's not feminine, right? That's not soft. That's not, there's no tact to it. But that's the thing with modern day women now, right? And I think that's what leading them to more like, let's say this, right? I've heard a lot of black men, how they view and suffering it from it, where they view that their women, black women, are, and this is let's say from dating statistics, right? Where black women are one of the least desired race, right? And I hear a lot of black men say one of those reasons is the attitude, because you're more manly than most men. And what man wants to get with another man? At least if you're a hetero, right? And that's what, and this is the thing, right? I hear it from black men that they're, and I've been, again, right? I date black women. I get it, right? My baby mom is that, right? How your friend was, like the aggressiveness, the how cursing, that's, I've been there, right? I'm not digging on her because like she's terrible. No, I'm digging because I've been there. I've dated women like that. I've had a kid. I have kids with a woman like that, and I'm not that's an issue that men are facing right now.
So you know what's crazy? Like, all right. So I don't think it has to do with color, but let's put that aside for a second. It's fun. A white woman will present, let's say a white woman or a woman from maybe Far East will present herself as very feminine and agreeable, teachable, and maybe she doesn't curse, right? But as soon as she's fed up with you, she will stab you in the back in ways you couldn't have even imagined, right? So I'm not saying I'm okay with the way modern women sometimes talk to men or present themselves. I'm not disagreeing with you about that, but I'm saying that women women across the board are women, and I'd much rather deal with someone who's going to tell me to my face what they're thinking, as opposed to someone who's going to stab me in the back, right? Like you ever hear that? Yep, this saying, like, when a woman's fed up, right? There's the woman who will curse you out, but who will step in front of a bus for you, and there's the woman who will listen to everything you say, but once they've had enough, they will poison your food. Like, which one would you prefer?
No,
I found this is my own experience with women, and I get it. It's a cultural thing with Black women where they appear more aggressive. They're more willing to tell you off, to say what's on their mind, even if it's disrespectful to you in front of other people. I get that. But I found that I can gain a woman's respect by not acting in kind. I think that our idea of what's masculine sometimes is messed up. You're like, these women are acting masculine, they're acting aggressive, they're in your face. I'm like, well, that's not really masculine. Because if someone gets in my face and they act aggressive, they're being emotional, and I can control my emotions, right? So I think that I'm being more masculine when I walk away, or when I look right through what they're saying, what they're feeling, and right to what they're saying, and I can be clear-headed and say what's right to set them straight, or know what to do next to resolve the situation, as opposed to being in my feelings and saying, why are you talking to me like that? Or don't disrespect me. You know what I mean? And if a woman isn't willing to give you the respect you deserve, right? Isn't that what we're saying Will Smith's problem is? He won't wipe, all right, it's too late now. He can't wipe his hands on a woman who didn't respect him. He stuck himself with a woman who didn't respect him. Black women are complaining about women not respecting them, but I think that these men are just picking around women. That's all. There's two things. You don't react in kind, you don't react emotionally, and make better choices and who you pick. If you can't handle someone who's loud and opinionated, don't pick someone who's loud and opinionated.
Okay, let me say this, right? One, let's not fool ourselves. We can understand what is generally a masculine trait. Being violent, I mean, you name it. Men and women
I think that's a misconception.
I don't think so. I can't. Because, like, look at this, right? Where it's where you think it's a misconception, because I would say even in the animal kingdom, you can see the differences, right? You can see how men, right? Let's say, even in when men are in heat, they are fighting against each other. It's generally how it is. It's the basis, right? The basis of it, right? This is the thing where we can't say that, okay, I'm not saying women can't be violent. There's that, or women can't. It's not about, it's like what you say as a general thing, right? Because you always think about this, right? Men are built differently. We are built for violence, right? Men are technically built for protection. Protection is basically violence in a sense, right? So I'm going to say this. Well, let's not sugarcoat it in the sense that, okay, we're trying to change what the constitute as masculine because of the past. No, I believe that violence, aggressiveness is basically men, right? Masculinity. But I would say this, right? Where the caveat is that the difference is, I believe we are more civilized, right? Where I think is you add the caveat that you don't need to be, or you shouldn't be, right, controlled by your emotions. Okay, that's the thing where I agree with you in the sense that, yeah, having you be more with holding back, more stoic, which is also men, right, in a sense, because this is the thing what I always say, right? I think violence and aggressiveness is men, is masculinity. But I also think being stoic is masculinity, right? Holding back, thinking logically. Two things can be true at the same time. Because I'll say this, right? Why it's true, two are true at the same time is because I think I've told you this before, where men, we hold I don't want to say record, but we hold the idea of the spectrum, right? How I said, like, men can be the most stupidest, right, in society, but men can be also the smartest in society, right? So in the sense that we're the most violent, but we could be the most stoic, right? Where we don't show emotion, right? Where we be calm and logical, or we'll be outright too emotional, violently emotional, right? But because we know those two grasp, it's how we become each other, right? Where because we men know they could be violent and aggressive, we have to control ourselves because we're civilized. We're not animals, right? There are basic needs, right? There are biology, right? Animalistic, I don't know, parts of our brains, right? That shit has that shit, right? But because we know that, we're civilized in the sense that men need to be logical and stoic sometimes, right? Controlling their emotions, right? That has to happen because if you are a good, decent, moral man, you cannot let emotions control you, at least all the time, or to such high degrees. So yes, you can't say that being aggressive is a man's trait.
I maybe we're just talking semantics. Myron just said, right, that women are ruled by their emotions. Then he said, when a man is ruled by his emotions, bad things happen.
Yes. Okay.
So being ruled by your emotions isn't masculinity, and it doesn't make it a man's trait just because the consequences are worse when a man does it.
No.
I think there's a difference there. You see what I'm saying? So there's what happens if a man loses control, and then but if what happens when a man loses control is bad, that doesn't make it masculine. That just makes it a bad decision.
What makes it masculine is how you operate in it, right? Let's say this, like, if I'm so mad at you that if there's a fist fight, that's a masculine thing. So let's say if a woman,
I disagree.
I don't, because like again, what I said, like, in the animal kingdom, men, the male population, they handle whatever through violence, right? Let's say for women, even if a woman is madly angry at you, when she borderline where she's like actually like getting in boxing stands, now you're trying to be manly. Women would be like, they voice, right? They would yell at you. It's more like, I believe physicality is entering masculinity, in my opinion. Because, like, again, it goes back to men are physically built for war, physically built for violence.
So,
right?
so that's what I'm saying. All right, so let me explain. Yes, I agree. A man is built for violence, but a human can be violent, right?
Okay.
Like anybody can be violent, right? Maybe a woman is more likely to voice her opinion, while a man is more likely to keep quiet. But both a man and a woman can get to the point where they're so angry they want to hit somebody.
Okay.
All the time.
Yeah.
The only difference, I'm telling you, the only difference is when a man does it, it's worse because men are stronger. So the strength is the character, is what the man has, is the difference, right? But just because they have that strength doesn't mean that fighting is a masculine characteristic. It means that it's worse when a man fights. Think about even in the animal kingdom, when animals fight, when male animals fight, it's for a purpose, right? It's to control territory, it's to control or protect territory, or to gain a mate, or for food.
But let's
right?
But this is the thing where, of course, we've changed. We're not hunters and gatherers anymore, right? We're not, we're not. But I'm just saying. Look at this, right?
But
I'm more saying this.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm more saying this, right? I understand what you're saying, right? Fighting is not necessarily shouldn't be gender based or anything, but that my thing is that, let's say this again. I go back to the thing that men are built for it. So essentially, like I believe, right, over time, it's been established that men are built for it. So women has, I think, femininity, right, has developed in the sense that women don't operate in the violence, right? They don't necessarily operate in the aggressiveness, in the violence, because they've never been that. So femininity has turned into like when you get violence, that you cross that line. That's what I'm thinking, because again, women are not built for that. Yes, a woman can fight, a woman can throw hands, but again, you're not built for that. So you cross that line where you're doing something that it comes natural or it fits better for a man. So when something fits better for a man, it's kind of categorized as more masculinity, right? I'm not saying that women can't do it, because again, women can, in essence, show a sign of a masculine trait. That's what I think, is that's what it is. I believe it's a masculine trait. Violence, right? I believe it's a masculine trait. That's how, because you can't change that, because yes, are women capable of violence? Of course. But let's say this, in general, women don't just square up with men to have a fist fight.
But they square with each other all the time.
They square with each other. This is the thing, right? They square with each other because that's what they square with each other is because, like, they have, it's the equality, right? They're equal with each other, right? But in my personal opinion, right, squaring with each other is more rare than what women truly do is talk shit about you, backstab you. I believe women use manipulation, emotional damage more often than physical damage.
I don't disagree with that. I agree.
But I would say, personally, let's say this, emotional damage, I believe, is more in a female trait. So let's say if a woman, if a man, right, is going around spreading rumors about you, and that you told, like, let's say this, you said like, oh, my girlfriend just destroyed she cheated on me and left me, and now the man is going around telling, like, oh my god, she cheated on him, right? She's going all through all your friends. That's gossip, right? Gossip is it's a feminine trait, right? Spreading words around, doing emotional damage. That's how it is. We cannot deny traits that society, right, has put on each gender, right? Again, they can be fudged, right? But you cannot say that, okay, this is 100% being aggressive, right, is highly men. Women will go behind your back and attack you because it is safer for women to do those kind of maneuvers, because essentially they're not built for that tactic of physicality, but they are built for more emotional damage. That's how it is. So I'd rather try to persuade you to think otherwise. Where, okay, maybe you're trying to dispel old traditions or old ways of thinking, but again, old ways of thinking sometimes, in my opinion, has concrete viewpoints, right?
I mean, that's the same as saying, and I'm not saying it's untrue. Stereotypes. I mean, I get it. They all come from somewhere, but like, all right, if so here's the problem we run into, right? If fighting and aggressiveness and physicality are all masculine traits, then when a man shows control, he's being effeminate. Is that what we're saying?
No, remember what I said.
You
Remember
said
what I said.
true at the same time, right? But what I'm saying, but there's what happens with men, and this is what I'm saying. Myron said it. It's crazy. I'm going to use him. I'm going to use what he said as an example.
Okay.
When men don't control their emotions, bad things happen. Right?
Okay. Yes.
Right.
I agree.
I think that what happens is this is how, in fact, in some instances, this is how women can cause emotional damage. A man shows restraint and control, and a woman accuses him of being a bitch. Right. So now so now they've been able to equate his doing the right thing, showing restraint and control, with being effeminate. Myron said when a man doesn't control his emotions, he was saying women don't control their emotions. He was saying when a man doesn't control their emotions, bad things happen, that men should control their emotions.
Yes.
But if I'm in a situation where I'm controlling my emotions, right, I'm not going to fight.
Okay.
And everyone around me is goading me to fight. How are they goading me to fight? They're not saying, oh, you're being a real man by controlling your emotions. They're saying, oh, you're going to let him say that? You're being a bitch. So you see what happens? So what happens is being in control constantly gets equated to being effeminate.
No. I think you're misrepresenting that. I think if I'm getting it right, not fighting is a bitch. Right? If you fought, they wouldn't call you a bitch.
No, right? but that's what I'm saying. We're saying that would be masculine. I think that's wrong. I think that's
okay. Now you're trying to dispel. See, that's what I'm saying. You're trying to dispel old traditions, old preconceptions. You're trying to dispel it.
I don't even think that's new. That's not a new thought. I mean,
what's not a new thought?
That control is masculine. That's not dispelling the old tradition.
See, again, I don't necessarily say. Okay, not let's get out right. I'm not saying control. That's not what I'm saying. But stoic, that's different, right? I believe that you being in control of your emotions is neither man or female. I wouldn't equate that to being a man or a female. Being stoic, right? When you show no emotion, that's different, right? When you show no emotion, people equate that to men. But that's where I say that maybe that you're confusing that, right? Yeah. People do equate men to be stoic, not showing emotion. Technically controlling his emotions, right? But in general, when men controls their emotion, they don't show nothing. They're not angry. They're not sad. They're just holding emotions in. That's being stoic, right? But I think you're confusing saying controlling is they don't equate. If you control your emotions, right? So let's say if you are in a fight where you should be mad, where you should be, but you're holding yourself back, that's not you. Yeah, you're controlling your emotion. They don't call you. It's not that's not a male or female kind of masculine or feminine attribute. That's just you controlling your emotion. Now, if you went into you just blank face, people yell at you, people whatever, and you don't even listen or you don't show no emotion. Yeah, they call that like more manly, right? In a sense, a man trait where you just show no emotion. Okay, that's the thing where I think I personally think you're confusing that. Right, but again, it don't change the fact that being aggressive is a man's trait. That's it.
I guess.
Come on, man. I am.
I don't know. I don't know that I agree. I don't know. I agree.
I feel like you're disagreeing because you're trying to dispel. You're trying to at least, like I said, you're trying to, I don't know, break down old views.
I think women I think women across the board in general, we're going to speak in generalities. I think in general, women are more aggressive than men.
Now they are.
I think they've always been.
I don't think so.
I think
I
they've
don't
always
think so. Let me say this, right? What you were saying before, right? Where I believe femininity is that it's what you show people. Maybe inside the door, like your household. Yeah, okay. If you were, let's say you're yelling at your husband, okay. I wouldn't necessarily say that's a masculine thing, but let's say I believe femininity has developed in the sense that you have decorum, where at least to people you respect your husband, right? You're not gonna yell at him. You're not gonna talk down to him. And then that's the thing where at least women, like let's say in the household, because in my honest opinion, that I believe women have, in most cases, even back in the day, have controlled the household in a sense.
What do you? All right, just define femininity for me. In your opinion, what's femininity?
Femininity, I believe it's being soft. I believe femininity is like, okay, maybe this is maybe controversial, but it is femininity is pretty much knowing your place, that you are second to the man, that without the man there would not be you. Okay, that men are the leaders, you're the follower, right? So there's that dynamic where if you show femininity is that you show the respect towards men, right? Where you see that you're I believe femininity is class, right? I believe femininity is just having decorum. I believe femininity also includes nurturing, right? All the very motherly things is very feminine, right? That's those are the kind of gist of femininity. But again, I believe femininity goes hand in hand with your place behind a man.
So I think that is what we want femininity to be, and is what we want to be, and it incorporates the things that we're attracted to in femininity. But femininity, I don't even know if I'm saying it right anymore, is what a woman naturally is. So a woman may naturally be soft. A woman may naturally be less physically built than a man. But a woman is also more in tune with their emotions, for better or worse.
Okay.
So you'll see a mother be very nurturing and very protective. You'll also see a woman act on her emotions before she thinks about the consequences, right?
Okay.
Because that's feminine. So a woman knowing her place or showing respect is a woman working to control her feminine traits. You see what I'm saying? And we like that. We like that because men like respect, right? But a woman has to work to give that. I think that's always been the case. It's been the case for so long that when the Bible talks about, I promise I'm not trying to just be, I'm making the point that this is ancient.
Yes.
When the Bible talks about relationships,
Uh-huh.
when it talks about how a marriage should work and a husband's role in a marriage and a wife's role in a marriage, it says that the man needs to love his wife, and it says that the wife needs to have deep respect for her husband. The reason it says that is because men have trouble showing love because we're not very emotional. Doesn't mean you don't have love. You don't love your wife, but you have trouble showing it. And women have trouble showing respect.
I agree.
On emotion.
I agree.
So I think that what's actually feminine is less control. And what's actually masculine is, I guess you can say, it's closer to stoicism, but it's more emotional control, which is why I say that women, I think, have always been more aggressive than men. It's just that
where do you get that from? I still I don't see the A to B from that.
I'm getting to the point. So if you react, you're aggressive if you react on emotion. Usually you react on emotion, you're aggressive, right?
Okay.
A male and human males, animal males, they get aggressive for a purpose. I just said that, right? Women don't always get aggressive for a purpose. They get aggressive because they feel, because they're emotional, right?
Okay.
So if a woman gets angry and she shouts at you, then she comes back later and she says, you know what? I shouldn't have said that to you. I'm sorry. That's a woman. A man is less likely to shout unless there's a threat, right? You'll see a man get aggressive if someone's trying to kick the door in. He needs to protect, I need to protect my wife or my child, or I need to step up and protect my area, or I need to make this argument clear. But if you assault a woman, they'll yell at you. That's aggression. I think we confuse what happens is, one, men have had the power in our governments and systems, everything, right? So we see the results of manly aggression, and they're worse. A woman can get aggressive and punch you, and it won't hurt you, right? You haven't gotten aggressive. She's the one who's gotten aggressive. It just doesn't have the same impact, right? So if a woman hits you 10 times and you don't feel it, the woman is still the aggressor. But if you hit her once, that's the one time you got aggressive, but you knocked her tooth out. Now we're saying, look at this aggressive man. But in reality, even though the man was dead wrong for what he did, the woman was more aggressive. It's just that the man's aggression had worse consequences. So because we see the impact of what men do, we think it's a masculine trait. But I think that that's factually wrong. I think that men control their emotions more. And because we're in more control of our emotions, we're less aggressive. It's just that when we get aggressive, it's worse.
Okay, I think maybe. Okay, you see it in such a weird view, right?
But the thing is, we've never looked at it that way. But I don't.
Okay, maybe we haven't looked at it that way. But it's like, because it just doesn't. Let's say this in the scenario you're saying, right? A woman that's beating up on a man. Most people would say that's manly. Most people would say that's.
I know most people would
you're being
say
masculine.
I know most people would say that, but what's more likely to happen, right? And what's more likely to happen if you and your wife get into a fight?
Yeah.
Are you more likely to throw a pan at her, or is she more likely to throw a pan at you? Think about it.
She would throw a pan at me. Yes.
That's more aggressive.
But no, I see your point, right? But again, I believe, right, in my honesty, right, is that this is the thing where we have allowed it that way. Here's the thing where I say this, right? Let's say this, right? Let's say the 1950s, okay? 1950s, 1940s, before the whole feminism shit, right? Where women, I guess is like, I'm not saying they know their place, but they had a place. Women had a place, and that place is behind a man. Okay? That's the thing where I think we're confusing it. Yes, you're definitely speaking at how it is in 2023. I agree. But that's the issue that we are having now, where because of how the world is right now, how Western world is right now, let's say if a woman is, because you gotta imagine, a woman in 1940s in general would not be throwing fists at you.
No, but
right? They wouldn't be throwing a pin.
But my argument is that she wouldn't be doing that, not because she doesn't want to, not because she doesn't feel a need to, but because it was so much less socially acceptable. And I agree with you. In 2023, it's different. It was so much less socially acceptable that she had to control it. That's all I'm saying.
No, but listen to this, right? It's also a thing where women would know their place because let's say this, right? If me and you, we said it, where I say it's men's trait because let's say this, hypothetically, a gay relationship. If two men are arguing, well, that's it. We're going to throw fists. It's going to be both fights. So, as terrible as it may sound, back in the 1940s, well, if a woman even steps that, well, the man will throw fists at her. But now, right, it's a different story where men have to hold back, right, and allow women to do it. So it's physical violence. Nothing you've said makes sense in the sense that it's always a man's trait. But nowadays, it's just a different dynamic where because men are automatically seen as abuser. So if he takes that step, he's automatically in jail, automatically accused as an abuser. So men, yeah, they hold back, but doesn't mean that because she's hitting me, she's still showing feminine trait. No, she's showing a masculine trait, but that masculine trait is not it's not being checked because men. Let's say this. I believe men essentially doing a feminine trait. In my opinion, men are holding back. Men are scared of. I'm not saying violence towards women. Are scared to protect themselves. Scared to put women in their place. Men are now in the feminine position where women are, at a higher standard. That's why I believe femininity is built to be second best. It sounds so terrible, but it's like built to be supportive of men. So it's like it's support leadership, follower leadership. So really, in that sense, that now men are they're following women in a sense where that's not a leadership dynamic where he's scared or shirking her. He's allowing to get him beaten on because
but
if that was a man,
that's society reversing the roles. But I'm separating the roles we play from the actual characteristics that come natural to us.
But listen to this, right? I don't disagree. I do not disagree that everyone, men, women, even children, are capable of violence, right? But again, I go back to it is that because men are naturally built for violence, it is a naturally men trait. Men even if men don't show it, it's still a natural men's trait. Because, like I said, I told you what's more logical or what happens more often: women to use their mouth to damage someone or using their fists. I believe in a more majority kind of case, in general, women, they would use their mouth to damage someone rather than use their fists to damage.
But verbal aggression is still aggression.
Yeah, I'm not saying that's not aggression, but it's like that's what I'm saying. It's like,
and we were talking about that being a masculine trait, like the way a woman talks, the things they say, being disrespectful, being.
But see, the thing is where now, like what I'm saying is like it's a masculine trait. Okay, where let me clear it up. Where I said, let's say hypothetically, the woman is arguing with me. It's a masculine trait when you are going up against a man. Because now this is the thing where this is like let's say like Animal Kingdom, right? Where two men are like puffing it up, right? Or they're puffing their chest at each other. That's what I'm talking about, right? Where a woman now is puffing her chest at me, right? If I was like hypothetically 1930s, 1940s, if someone's puffing their chest at me, well, I'll be doing it back at them. And eventually that dynamic will end in a fight. That's where I said it's more. See, that's where you don't see it, right?
I think
let's
that's
say
a
a
woman
woman.
stepping into a masculine role, but I still think she's behaving. She's actually behaving like a woman. I'm not saying
Behaving like a woman.
I'm not
Women
saying
just like puff their chest at people. I don't know.
I'm looking at the source of the action. Why is she puffing her chest? Why would she be puffing her chest at a man?
I don't know. And just say an argument. Have an argument.
Because she's emotional, right?
Okay.
That's so that's what I'm saying. It still comes from a feminine place. See, every time we say feminine.
No. Let me know. I think you're confusing, right? I think you're confusing where two things can be true at the same time. Okay? I'm saying this, right? Yes. Being emotional, let's say it's a feminine thing, right? Let's say this, and I'll probably agree with you, right? Being overly emotional is a feminine thing. But, right, if let's say this woman is being overly emotional, but puffing her chest at me, now you're doing now you're
into a man's role, right?
Yes,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay. Then that's it. Like again, maybe we could disagree to. I guess we kind of agree. And
we're arguing over semantics.
Yeah. Well, I guess we're saying, but it's like
the only reason I think it's important is because and at this point I am trying to dispel something, but I think that's because it's not true. The only reason I think there needs to be a distinction is if acting on your emotions before thinking is a feminine trait.
No, that's not. I don't say that's a feminine trait. I think it's situational shit. Situational, right? Like I said, a woman being emotional, whatever. But if a woman is being emotional, and hypothetically, if me and your friend was debating, she's yelling at me and cursing at me or just really being rude. Okay, and if it was face to face, now you're doing a man's. Now you're being masculine because of that situation. That's what I'm saying, right? It's situational. Let's say if she's yelling at her friend, okay, it's like kind of that, but I mean, like you're talking to a woman, so whatever, right? But it's still there's still a bit of situational shit, right? Because let's say you're being territorial in a sense, because we always got to think things can be maybe a little bit more animalistic in a sense, right? When a woman like needlessly being territorial, needlessly being aggressive, I think that's a man's trait. But I wouldn't necessarily out and out say that. Okay, now she's arguing with a woman. Okay, would that be man's trait? I don't think. I'm not straight out thinking that. Okay. But again, I definitely see that it's a man's it's very men's trait. Where let's say this, in that scenario where she's with a group with all men, that's where I see that, right? That's where I see a man's trait, where I would describe that situation as a man's trait. Let's say hypothetically, right? If the panel was all women and she was doing the exact same thing, maybe I wouldn't even think like that. Okay, I probably wouldn't even think, okay, she's being aggressive and very manly. I wouldn't probably think like that. But I still feel that there's a bit dark. Again, I believe femininity goes hand in hand with masculinity, in the sense where femininity, you have a certain level or a certain kind of respect or decorum when it comes to being around men, right? That I believe femininity, one of the key things is how you act around men.
I think that's a definition of what we would like the feminine role to be.
Okay, I mean,
I just don't think that's what naturally comes. That comes naturally to women. I think women have to work at that. That's what I'm saying. I mean, that's just
not natural to women.
I think I disagree, because if it came natural to women, Myron wouldn't have to talk about training a woman, because they would know how to do it right away.
Do you think that? Okay, no. Do you
naturally are? all the
Do
time.
you not see? No, do you? I personally, let's say this. Do you not see in 2023, people are different now? I believe that, let's say feminism, let's say modern women ideology, I think it has effect because you think about this. Like, let's say the scenario where like a woman is beating on a man has to control himself. I think men have changed, right? Men are trying not to be physically aggressive. Men try to hold themselves back, right?
Because society and culture is different. That's what I'm saying.
But that's not necessarily. I'm not saying that's natural. I'm saying that that's ingrained. That is actually trying to indoctrinate or fix people how naturally they are. I personally believe, right? Femininity is what I said, but I believe, yes, in current society, it has been changing or it's trying to change it. That's where I think that we're possibly how you're talking about it. You're seeing how it is in 2023, where things are trying to be changed, right? But maybe I'm being traditional, where I don't think like that. I don't see it like that.
I guess what I'm saying is, I think the roles are being changed.
Okay, I could agree with you there.
I think that's what's happening, and whatever. We can talk about whether that's good or bad, but I still think that, and I do think this is a problem. I think that there's a difference between what our roles are and what comes naturally to us. And I think to fit in a role, you have to have a level of control, which means resisting some things you want to do or would naturally do if you didn't have to sit in these roles, right? Like, for instance, if the role of a man in a family, for instance, is to be the head, right? A lot of that is going to come natural to a man. Maybe most of the job is going to come natural to a man, being a provider, a protector, right? But what is also included in being the head of a household? You got to take care of your family physically, right? You got to provide for them, but you do have to be there emotionally, at least to a degree. And that part's difficult, right? But it's part of the role. That part takes work for most men.
Okay, yeah, I agree.
Right? Because I'd rather be alone in my basement playing video games or watching football than talking to my wife about anything, right? Right. So
yes.
So that's that, but me sacrificing some of what comes naturally to me to fulfill my role is me.
No. See, I think you're kind of getting confused a bit. I wouldn't say that's your role. I think that's like I personally feel. Let's say this: thousands of years, right? What you said, like let's say men not being less attentive to their kids, right? What you're saying, like their role and shit like that. That was their role, providing, protecting, all this stuff. I think yes, we're changing our roles, right? Roles are changing, and it's kind of adapting and being whatever fluid, right? I don't think, and what's natural and what's our role in the past, those I believe has been very hand in hand. Only now, what's natural and what's role is kind of like fluctuating and more different, right? That's where I see that's the thing, because I personally believe in the past, men never needed such overabundance of I don't know, time with their kids.
Emotional intelligence.
I'm not saying emotional attention, but I'm saying like emotional attention. Men never needed to give so much emotional attention.
Like, a man's always had to be an instructor and a teacher, right? Haven't always had to be?
I agree.
But that requires providing emotional attention, right?
I'm saying it doesn't have to require a whole lot.
If you're not attuned to their needs, right? Like you would have to, if you're teaching a child and you can't understand that that they're tired, so they're not paying attention, or that they're afraid, so they're not going to do something. If you can't figure that out, you can't teach them properly. You see what I'm saying?
No, let me say this. I don't know. Do you? Okay, here's my thing, right? Where I personally believe one of the roles for men is that to instill fear and discipline into children. I believe that's a role for men. And I personally believe that you don't need a whole lot of time to do that. I always believe, because like I always felt this, right? Because women were the opposite, where they show nurturing, they show tenderness. That's how I see it, where they will make up for the thing. Men are the disciplinarian, while women are the coddlers, or whatever, right? So I always believe that that's how it worked. And I see that that's the dynamic, but it's like that's the kind of partnership I think about when it comes to men and women, when it comes to husband and wife, right? And I say fear is not necessarily a bad thing. You need to fear. You need fear. You need discipline, because when you're not scared of authority, you don't respect authority. Well, shit will happen in your future by shit like that. So really, I don't think men need a whole lot of. Let's say even in the past, right, or especially in the past, need a whole lot of time to instill those kind of principles onto their children, while nurturing and being tender and coddling to your children. Well, that's of course that's you that's what I think, right? That's the balance. Okay, so if you instill fear into your children 24/7, well, then your kids are going to come messed up, right? But
absolutely.
If you do that, a sprinkle of that, like let's say 2 hours a day, okay, and then the rest of the day, the mom is like loving on them, coddling on them, right? I think that's the balance, right? I'm not saying the man is like spitting on the child, of course, like loving on the child, but his lessoning, right? He's showing, instilling that fear, having discipline, right? Where the children understand, like, oh, I'm scared of dad. I don't want to disrespect dad, right? That's the thing where I said, well, the mom is like, oh, I'm gonna run to mom because I want to ask for things, right? That's the dynamic that I see that works, right?
So I get what you're saying. I do get what you're saying, and I don't disagree. And a father should be able to instill like fear and discipline, or a man, that's a part of their role. But like, I keep going to the Bible only because
no, and I love it. I love it.
That's like the source in the West of that's where you find the definition of the family roles, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in the Bible, it speaks of God as a father, right?
Mm.
That his number one characteristic. I'm not saying that he didn't spend a lot of parts of the Bible instilling fear and discipline. He did,
yeah,
absolutely. But his biggest attribute in the Bible, ancient times, thousands of years ago, was love. That's how God's described. And Jesus Christ's the entire documentation of Jesus Christ's life on earth was him showing to others what his father was like. And his number one characteristic was love first, over everything. So that doesn't mean you got to be a soft sap, but it does mean that emotional, I call it emotional intelligence.
Let me no. How about let me throw you a curveball, right? Okay. Do you think man should be compared to God, or that he's godly in a sense, right? He's close to God.
Yes.
You do. So you think man? I always thought that's blasphemy. That you would,
So a man
compare yourself to God.
A man isn't a god, but God said in the Bible that when he made man in his image.
In his image. But let's see. This is where I'm coming from, right? Where I'm coming from is that how I see that man isn't God, or nor is he close to perfect, or I don't know if you think God is perfect, but he's not that level, right? But I essentially say where God said he created, again, I'm not a Bible thumper, but it's like he said created man in God's image. I think he's also like, don't forget that he created women. So I say that that's the partnership where men don't need to be fully like showing love, where that's the women's role. That's where I see that, where I see it a little bit differently, right? Well, yes, you're right. God, like you said, you know the Bible better, a whole lot better than me. But how I would interpret it is that, okay, although man is not God, man is not perfect. He doesn't have all the. So let's spread out the attributes, right? So women are this, men are that. That's how it clear is. Masculinity, femininity. I see. That's the thing where I think that's the problem. Maybe you're suffering from it, but that's the role that we should have. It's the perfection, perfectly connected, right? Where if we stay in our roles, it fits like a puzzle.
Okay, and I agree, but here's the point I've been making. That those are our roles, and if we perform our roles right, and none of us are perfect, so we never will perfectly. But if you fit in your roles correctly, the family works, right?
Yes.
But aside from the fact that we're not perfect, what comes naturally to us, especially, I'm gonna say especially because we're not perfect, what comes naturally to us doesn't always fit our role. That's what I'm saying. So there's the masculine role, and then there's masculinity, and there's the feminine role, and then there's femininity. And just like any job, you might be a good fit for a job, but when you get in that job, there's some things you're going to have to learn to do, and some bad habits you're going to have to break to perform it the right way. And what I'm saying is, you're going to have to go against some of your traits to do that. So I guess we've gone a long way around, but I guess what my ultimate point is that I don't think we should equate. I know that everyone's capable of it. I know that it's something that's in all of us, but I don't think that we should. I don't think that certain things should be equated with masculinity or femininity, because I think we should just define, hey, this is what maybe a feminine role should be performed, and this is how a masculine role should be performed. But that doesn't mean that a masculine person is naturally all the things that are in that role, or that a feminine person is all the things that are in the feminine role. You have to work to fit those roles. I think what actually comes naturally to us sometimes goes against those roles, and that's what we have a problem with. So yeah, I don't want to be yelled at and cursed at by a woman. I don't want her puffing her chest at me. She's stepping into a masculine role, into a masculine space when she does that. But why is she doing that? Because she's emotional, which is a feminine trait, right? And if she wanted to step into the role, the feminine role as we define it right now, she would pull back on her anger, and she would say, no, I should listen to my boyfriend or my husband or to the man in charge right now.
Okay.
That's the feminine role. But her natural instinct is to get emotional before thinking and act on that instinct.
Do you not think? Okay, let's say this. See, I think you need to stop at certain points, right?
Okay.
Let's say, fine. Her natural feminine instinct is getting emotional. I think you stop there, because to act on emotions, I think that now you could possibly enter into more masculine role. That's where I think we're.
Well, the role, yeah, but
yeah, because that's why I think like two things can be true. I believe in a lot of things where two things can be true at the same time, right? Yes, men and women. You can be like men that share their emotions, right? well, that could be a little bit, very feminine in a sense. But so what? This is the thing where we don't need to like say that it's like the worst thing ever that a man shares his emotion, right?
No, I don't think that. I don't think that.
But I'm just saying, like, okay, but even if I call that a feminine trait, okay, well, that probably is, or that is, but so what? I see. This is the thing where I think a lot of times, like, modern day people are trying to, like, oh, I think these old or all these old concepts are just terrible. Let's not do that. No, okay, so what? Because so what if I said that your friend was really being masculine? Okay, because she is. But so that happens. People can do that. People can be overly aggressive. Okay, that happens. But you make it a negative connotation because, oh my God, sure, she's being a man. Okay, but she is. That's what I'm saying. So if you see it as, okay, oh, I want to change it up, like, so it's not masculine, but why? It's still it's a negative trait. It is, but you're trying to say, okay, you're trying to fudge it so it's not negative. Because, like, say, oh, let's say hypothetically, you say, oh, that's a female trait, so it's not a negative thing. No, it is.
I'm not saying that it's not negative. Here's the.
But no, but I'm saying that's the concept you're trying to pull out. Where, in the sense that if I don't say that, let's say, in essence, this woman arguing, being aggressive, being, very combative, is a masculine trait. But it sounds a lot worse if I said that. But it would sound better if I said this is a female trait. So it's natural. So it's not that bad. So technically, you are seeing as a negative, which it is, but you're trying to fudge it so it's not either as negative or not negative at all. But that's what you're trying to do.
Well, what's the reverse of what you said? So if you say this woman yelling at me is acting like a man, then you're saying that's how men are supposed to act?
I'm not saying supposed. See, that's the difference.
Are you saying that's how men act? Do you think that's how men act?
No, I'm saying, like, right, men. See, that's what I'm saying, right? I'm saying that men would be the ones to have the balls to come up to you and argue with you. That's what I'm saying.
I don't think that's
only a man should be having the balls to come up to you and argue with you face to face. Only a man should have the balls to puff their chest at you, to have the balls of you, because they will be taking the chance of you potentially fighting back. You puffing your chest and you get into altercation. That's what I'm saying, right? I'm saying a woman doing that because of society, she seems like she can't. I think this is the problem, right, with modern day thing, where people feel like they can easily bounce back into different roles or different personality traits or different gender traits because society allows it, right? Because now it's free, like again, a woman is allowed to yell at you, to curse at you, to puff her chest at you because, well, society allows it. But that you should not. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be naturally, because, again, only a man should be doing that because of the violent implications that could be coming out of that. Remember, we did a video back of a woman arguing with a man, and we're saying that she should have just walked away, right? Where her son came in and killed that man. Mm-hmm. But that's the thing, where if it was another man doing that, those two men, we would see that, okay, that's natural, right? That's like, well, that's gonna be a fist fight, right? Okay, in a sense that I think we saw that picture where he hit that woman, or something. If he did, right? Let's say if he did, because I don't remember it clearly, but if he hit that woman, that is like, oh my God, that you shouldn't have done that. But if that was another man, okay, you would think that, okay, you would not think twice about it, right? That, okay, these men were having an argument and they fought each other. You would not think twice about that. That's what I'm saying, where we are forgetting that, again, there's just characteristics, there's traits that it is what it is, right? She was expressing a clear masculine trait by being overly aggressive, okay, cursing, talking loud, yelling, whatever. But okay, that is what it is. And I'm not saying she's allowed to do it because that's society, right? But let's not confuse it. That is a masculine trait. Let's not try to fudge things and change things. That is what it is, right? Because, like I said, I'm trying to rethink my thing. I'll be saying that it's a masculine trait when it's around men, because
So I think it's a trait if it's something that you naturally do. I think it's you're saying I hear what you're saying, but I think that but what I hear you saying, what I hear you describing is a man's role. Like a woman shouldn't get in a man's face and puff her chest.
Yes.
Because it implies you want to fight.
Yes.
And the damage that a man can do to a woman is significantly greater than the damage a woman can do to a man in most instances, right?
Yes.
So that woman has stepped into a man's role, and she should be there, right? Vice versa, right? A man who, let's take Will and Jada, for instance.
Yes.
Right? A man who should be the head of their household and can't step up and take control of their home situation, right?
Like he's spineless.
Who has stepped out of the masculine role and into the feminine role.
Yeah.
But so they've stepped out of their roles. But the reason they've done so is because their natural inclination, they have not controlled their natural inclination. Here's what I mean by that. A woman's more likely to be emotional. A man is more likely to control his emotions. So a man, I'll put it this way. A man is more likely to think before they act. A woman is more likely to act before they think.
Okay.
Right? To step in your role, you have to think before you act, right? You have to figure out what should I do here, and whatever you should do is what you should do. And in Will and Jada's instance, in Will and Jada's situation, Will is acting like a man. He's controlling his emotions, but he's not stepping into the masculine role of taking control of the situation. And in the instance in the store where the woman and the man were arguing, the woman has stepped into a masculine role by challenging another man to a fight.
Yeah.
But the reason she's done that is because naturally she's emotional and she is acting before she thought about the consequences. So what I'm saying is that certain things come natural to a woman and certain things come natural to a man. And if we call them traits, I'm not concerned about you calling a woman who cusses or talks a certain way acting masculine. I'm concerned about the vice versa, the reverse meaning. If you say that's because what happens is that it gives the idea that men often curse and get in each other's faces. No, when it happens, it's a big deal. But when it happens, we're usually stepping into a masculine role for a purpose. We've been challenged or threatened, right?
Okay.
And vice versa. If the feminine role is to know your place, right? Or if it comes naturally if femininity means knowing your place, then that means when a man doesn't step up to any kind of challenge, or he doesn't curse, or he doesn't lose control of his emotions or his physical being, that's feminine. And the reason that's a big deal is because even whatever you call it, like it's not a big deal if you call somebody masculine or feminine. It doesn't matter, right? But what matters is how people start to define masculinity and femininity and confuse the two. Like I can call a woman masculine for acting a certain way, but I'm implying that men act that way. And
okay, okay. Like, see, this is the thing where I think where you are viewing it as semantics. Let's say this, right? You said that's the vice versa, where if I said that she's being aggressive, right?
You're implying that men act aggressive.
No, see, and that's the. I think that's where you get it wrong, right? I go back to what I said before, where men are the only ones that should have the balls to do that, right? I'm not saying that men, if you being aggressive and all, it's always men. No, I'm saying that to be aggressive in a room full of men, it should only be men. Okay,
it should be.
Yes, I say it should be only men. So
that's the role that a man plays.
That's the role, but I'm not saying that. Oh, okay, men will be aggressive. Men is going to always be aggressive. No, I'm not. Or I'm not saying that. Okay, if I'm saying like, okay, if women is aggressive, that means men are always aggressive. No, I'm saying that when a woman step over that bound of having the balls to be aggressive towards you, you're having the masculine trait, because only a man should have the balls to be masculine, to be aggressive, to be foul and disrespectful towards you. Only a man. That's what I'm saying. That's how I view it as. I'm not viewing it as, okay, I get your perception, right? And I think that's the fault. I think that's the misconception of how people view it today, right? And you're perfectly how you said it, right? Because I think that's how people are viewing that today. But they're not getting it straightly. Where no, it's not that I see that. Okay, men are always the ones who are yelling and being violent. No, but men are the only ones that should have the balls or the positioning or the inclination to be that kind of aggressive, right? Because that's the thing where men know it. Where okay, if you're gonna do that, shit is gonna pop, right? Violence is gonna happen, or you hold back and not do that. And that's what I think. That's where I say men know the extremes, right? Men know that okay, either you fight or you hold yourself back. That's how it is. But women, right? Because they're not men, but they're doing masculine trait. They don't have that inclination, right? That's the thing where that's where I think a lot of people are faltering, right? Men, why I say that's a man's trait, because men know how to regulate it, or they should know how to control it. In the sense that if a man is yelling at you, well, one, that he knows he's gonna have a fight, right? But a man knows that, okay, either I'm gonna yell at you, be disrespectful to you, or I'm just gonna not. Because I don't want to cross that boundary of a fight that's gonna happen. While women, they don't need to worry about that because society is allowing them to be men, right? But men are not holding women up to the position of being men. Because so let's say this, any woman was able to yell and just be disrespectful to you, a masculine trait. But because she's not a man, she doesn't know how to use that correctly, right? Because she would know that if a woman was in a room full of strangers, i.e. just like that video we talked about a while back, right? Yelling and puffing her chest in front of a man, okay? A man in her position, no. Well, this is gonna be a fight. This is definitely gonna be a fight. Okay, so I'm either gonna continue with this fight or continue with this arguing and chest pumping, or I'm gonna walk away. A woman, they don't have that natural masculinity. Okay, because I believe it wasn't natural for her. I believe she developed that. That's the thing, right? Women, that they develop that trait, that masculinity trait, because I believe boys, they kind of develop those, or they already have natural kind of traits. Usually, little boys are more aggressive than little girls. That's just natural. But let's say, for instance, that woman in that video where she was puffing her chest at a man. Well, she developed that masculine trait. Okay, it wasn't natural to her. She developed that through the years. So, but she didn't know how to handle masculine traits because she's not a man. Because if you were a man and you knew that, because like, let's say if I was in her position, I would just like, hell with it, because I'm going to walk away. Because if I'm going to continue this will be a violent altercation. I knew that. This woman really did not knew, and like, it would not have come a surprise to me that this man threw a fist at me. It would not. Because if I continued down this road of puffing my chest at another man, well, I knew that this is going to turn into a fight. So that's the thing that's where I believe that you are speaking in the terms of how society views things now. I agree. I see your point, but I don't. But on the flip side, I also don't agree with that point because that's not how it should be or how it was, right? I get it. Things are changing and people see things differently, which how you pretty much explained it. But because of that, they're not seeing things correctly. I believe not logically, right? I believe they're seeing things emotionally, right? Which I see that where you're seeing it, right? Where your versa is that, where if a woman is like arguing, and then mean vice versa is like argument is naturally men. No, I don't think that. But I do think that men understand that it's a man's trait, but they know how to control that trait because it's natural in a man. So you have to develop that trait to control those natural tendencies.
Okay. All right.
So
makes sense.
I'm you know what? These is why I love these conversations. I think most people would not care, but I love these conversations where it gives me time to like, I see your point, and I want to really. I love these debates. I love these talks where we flesh out ideas and we see perspectives because I agree. I see what things you're talking about is. I agree. That's how society sees certain things, right? But to be honest, I think society is more emotional than ever. They don't think on logic anymore. I personally believe, right? Yeah. Because it's women centric. Okay. Yeah. Let's just finish out the video and see if he says anything else special.
Okay.
My issue is that when they prioritize that over family and children, because at the end of the day, the nuclear family is the backbone of any thriving society. But it's going down the hill, and I know people might say, well, Mario, you're contradicting because you teach girls how to get laid, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. And here's my argument to that. I wish it was the 1950s. I wish nuclear families were a thing. I wish two-parent households were a thing. But my thing is I don't make excuses and cry. I give solutions. You have to adapt to the ever-changing marketplace. So one of my controversial takes is I tell guys, for you to be a good counterpart in today's day and age, you need to be making 6 figures per year, have 6 months to 1 year savings, be in shape, be 35 years old before you think of marriage, right? Because at that point you have some wisdom in you, and had sex with 50 girls, and everyone looks at me, whoa,
50.
50, and everyone's, whoa, that's crazy. 50 isn't really that much in today's day and age. I know girls that do that in a semester in college. If you meet, I know you don't, but like I'm telling you, a lot of girls get around. Like if you meet a girl that went to a good university and she was in a sorority or she was involved in sports or something, bro, she's gonna have, by the time she's out of there, she's gonna have at least 20 bodies, at least. And here's the thing, I always tell guys this: the reason why you need to have these things in place as a man. So your brother agrees with me.
Yeah, he agrees with everything. Yeah. He's not like.
Let me tell you what. So this is the analogy, right? Let's go into a dream world real quickly, right? Yeah. So imagine that you got to get into a ring, right? But you've never trained in martial arts. You never trained in any, mixed martial arts combat. You've never fought in your life. You're a fucking white belt, okay? But in 3 days, you got to get in the ring with someone that's a black belt that's been training for 20 years. What's going to happen when you get in that ring?
Getting killed.
You're going to get fucked up, right?
Yeah.
That is the dynamics between a man and a woman, and I'll explain.
That's true.
By the time a woman hits puberty, she's been hit on and talked to by the opposite gender thousands of times. So she's become very good at deflecting losers, figuring out who's a winner, figuring out this guy's confident, this guy's a weirdo, this guy is a higher status guy, this guy is, I'm just going to finesse him for whatever. Women become black belts in the game of dating and dealing with the opposite gender. Men, on the other hand, he might not work up the courage to talk to a girl until he's 22. So you have, 10 years behind a woman? So you're going to go ahead at 35 years old, no sexual experience, or worse yet, mid-20s, no sexual experience, no money, no status, no gym, no competence, no nothing, and you're going to go ahead and get in the ring with a woman by the time she's 25, she's a black belt with dealing with the opposite gender. She's going to finesse you all over the place because she knows what to tell you. She knows that's a piece to your ego. You're dumb as, oh my God, you're so good. Meanwhile, you were 3 pumps and you fucking came. Like, women know how to get in a guy's head. So if a guy isn't aware and hasn't been training in the gym, right, worked up to a black belt so he can at least compete, like he's going to get finessed and destroyed. So that's what I would say. Like the dating dynamic between a man and a woman, a lot of the time, the woman is a black belt beating the shit out of the guy, but the guy doesn't even realize it until he walks into the divorce court, loses half his money, didn't realize it. Wow, I got famous because he didn't have the sexual experience. He didn't have what I call the backlog, the encyclopedia of dealing with a bunch of women to figure out which girls are good, which girls are bad, which girls are hoes, which girls are wife material, which girls are worthy of dating seriously, which girls are not. You got to be able to figure all this shit out. You got to be able to put women in boxes because women definitely put men in boxes. They meet this guy, sugar daddy, this guy, trick, this guy, okay, I can actually date him. Okay, this guy, loser, this guy, friend zone. Like, women put dudes in boxes all day. But dudes, first girl that fucking says hello, wife, wife, yeah, woo, fucking idiot. And then this guy might be worth 100,000, 200,000, doesn't know any better, gets finessed. So my thing is, I tell guys, go in the fucking dojo and train. You need to go ahead and spar with a bunch of people and figure it out. Because by the time you meet your girl, your dream girl,
I don't disagree. See, this is the thing where this is the weird thing, right? Where just like maybe we were talking about before, like in 2023, things are just different. I agree that I don't know about you, but I've heard so many. Let's say even for the younger generation, or I guess even for old one, women are very. I have a video, right? That is the title is like, are women's bodies even temples anymore? Because they're like motels now. Okay, women do not treasure or put high esteem on their body. They don't. Because the things you hear about women just giving it out to so many men is like, it's like, and this is usually the average women, right? Average women. I did this video, right? Woman that's in her, I think, almost 40. She's almost 40, right? Looking for, she went on a dating site or a dating, I don't know, show, looking for a man. Currently, she has about 2 or 3 men friend zoned, where she calls, not even friend zone, right? But 3 men she calls to come over to lick down below for her. That's it. Once they're done, they go. That's it. So, and she's around her age. That's what man, what self-respecting man, what good, decent man. Here's this. Wow. This woman is just literally just giving her box, even if it's not necessarily penetration or sexual in nature, kind of. She's still letting other men taste it. Okay? So, what man is thinking about, wow, that's what I want to wife up. That's the woman that I want to talk to. I want to treat right. While she had a roster of other men to eat it out whenever she have the inclination for it.
So apparently all of us, because going to Myron, we're all getting finessed by women who have had way more sexual experience than us.
Yeah.
So we all,
it's fun, right? It's funny, right? The one woman that I've been mentioning in this video, right? Mm-hmm. That I felt like she was the one that got away. She was a virgin, right?
Okay.
She was a virgin. I was her first. That's why I could go on. It's like my stupidity because I was young. I was like 27, right? I was still a stupid kid, right? In my opinion. She was essential and she was submissive, right? She wasn't perfect, right? But she was beautiful, submissive. She loved me essentially more than I loved her. I'm not saying I don't love her, right? But how she viewed me, she put me on a pedestal, which, you know, I think that dynamic would have been perfect for me now. But it is what it is. But that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, I think a lot of women nowadays, right, in today's market, right, they are so much more experienced than men, right? And it's just like, what's the point anymore, right? It's not even tempting, right? For let's say men like us with morals, with principles, where we're not looking to just sleep around and rack up bodies. Well, you know, it's a different dynamic now.
Well, no, so why do we? I know we're going long. We're going long.
We're going long. I mean, we're gonna probably end this soon. So,
yeah. But why do we feel like there's so many of us who don't have a ton of sexual experience, but there's so many women who do. Like it's like we're bound to get finessed by a girl who just knows men better than we do.
Yeah.
Are like the same 20 guys having sex? Are the same 50 guys having sex with all the women? Is that what we're saying? Like,
essentially,
that's crazy.
I can tell you this, right? I don't know if I told you this. I think I told you this before. I have a video. One guy having about 15 baby mamas. One guy, right? That was a video. I saw another video recently, right? I think it was a whatever. Remember the bus lady? The bus lady? The one who's you probably don't remember. But okay, it was a talk show where she had 6 guys come up, right? Those 6 guys fathered 85 babies. 6 guys, 85 babies. So about, I forgot, I don't know, in the 30, about 30 women. 6 guys, about over 30 women, around 30 women. This is what this content will do to you. It will just make you like, I can tell you this, right? My view of the world was so much like you until I see the world. The craziness, the hypocrisy, the delusion, right? Now, I'm not saying nothing like, you know, women are terrible and stuff like that, because I've dated baby mamas. I've dated women that were kids. I've dated women that, you know, had a lot of kids. I just recently went out a little while back, went on a date with a woman that had 3 kids by 3 different men. So really, it's just like, that's the world, right? That's the thing where I'm not deluding myself how the world is. Okay. But that's the thing where, wow, I'm amazed by that. Wow, that is the world we're living in. Okay.
So then, but then it's like he's saying, so the answer to finding a good woman or finding a mate who will stick with you is to become those guys. Essentially.
I
don't know, bro. I don't know.
Like, look at this, right? The thing is, like, again, it is. Let's say, I mean, like, essentially, it's just it is a weird thing, right? Because to have success, you need to become the men that have success. And the men that have success are sadly the men that don't care, right? The men that they like he said, sleep with many women, have a lot of money. It's the typical men, right? I mean, the typical desired, the typical people that desire of men, right? The image, right? The bad boys, the players, right? Those typical men. I don't know about you. I've seen it when I was growing up. It's just those men are desired. Personally, I've never wanted to become those men. I've never wanted.
Me neither.
But it's like you think about this. See how our life has been, going compared to other men's lives, right? We have very little. I mean, I'm not saying that we have like thrones of women in our past. We don't, and we still have hard times finding a woman. But those type of men don't really have that hard of a time. They have a hard time finding and keeping good women because it's such a double-edged sword, right? Because I do not agree with men having high body counts because it's gonna F up a man's mind, right? I see that. But it's like women love men that other women love. That's just how it's a weird thing. It's just, I don't know.
Are you sure it's not just? Because I think this is true for guys a bit too. Are you sure it's not just that they lust after men that other women lust?
I mean,
different.
I mean, okay, I do believe that, right? A lot of people, especially women, they are confused about it. I see that, right? Yeah, they probably lust about them, but again, women have that emotional connection when it comes to sex. So lust in their mind is love. Which is why you think that a lot of times women, I think especially nowadays, can't keep a man because they're choosing the men that they're only lusting for as supposedly viable candidates, right? I.e., maybe the Jada and Tupac situation, right? She wants the man that she's lusting over, while the man that is maybe technically good for her, right? Who he wants to provide. He loves her more than she loves him. He wants to provide for her. He wants to be the best father for her kids. All this stuff. She doesn't lust for him. She doesn't view this again as a viable option, but even though she chose them. So I think that's the thing where people see that, and people are just weird like that.
Well, I mean, we'll see. I'm sure we'll talk about it more in the future.
Yes, I mean, yes. Well,
I think we should really have that could be a long conversation too.
I mean, I'm telling you, I don't think there's anyone. I mean, if I probably cut this up, so there probably might be someone who view this parts. But I mean, again, I love these conversations. It's so fun, right? Because they can be so thoughtful, dynamic. So I don't know, just more substance to these conversations. But I don't know. We definitely always love having more of these conversations, right? Because I believe there's going to be big things to come. If we could, have figure out something more in the future, but we'll think about it. But yeah, I think I should try to end this quickly. So I think that's it, guys. Later.